In the Northern Hemisphere, December marks the change from autumn to winter, and for our family that means it's time to celebrate the winter solstice. This year the winter solstice fell on the 21st of December. The night leading into the solstice is the longest night of the year, but from that point onwards each night will become shorter and each day will become longer. Much of the time surrounding the solstice is spent in the kitchen, since food is a big part of all 4 seasonal celebrations. Potato soup is a go-to comfort food for this time of year. The local potatoes are in season, so it doesn't cost much money to make 2 or 3 days worth of soup. Like most people celebrating the solstice, our home is decorated with elements of the new season. For the winter, evergreens are the traditional choice, since in many countries they're one of the few plants that survive through the colder seasons. They symbolize the prevailing cycle of life, even through the harshest of times. Although here in Cyprus, the winter is far from harsh. It's the beginning of the green season, since it's the only time of year we get regular rainfall. But we still decorate with an evergreen tree for the symbolism. Our tree is usually decorated with birds, and here I'm making a little house sparrow from twine and cotton with a beak made from a paper egg box. The leftover metal base from burning a tea light can be turned into a sun decoration with just a pair of scissors and some gold paint. Obviously, can't have a solstice celebration without the annual burning of the fruit. You're not supposed to burn the fruit. However, inevitably the tradition has become that I burn the fruit. I actually did one better this year. This is not the first batch of fruit that I'm going to be drying. This is the second batch, because the first batch I managed to entirely caramelize because I set the heat too high and didn't notice. This orange smells absolutely incredible. I'm having a really hard time not eating it. I would very much like to eat it. Always very important to make sure you perform CPR on your oranges before calling time of drying. Yee. Lovely. We're going to leave them to air dry a little bit before throwing them in the oven. And I'm going to throw a lemon on here as well. Why does all the fruit smell so good? Onto the drying rack, and I'll throw them in the oven. And it takes about 4 to 6 hours to dry them, if you're lucky. It takes a while. It's a whole day's activity. One of my favourite traditions is the gathering of greens, where you leave gifts for the local wildlife, in exchange for taking a small amount of greenery to decorate inside your home. We leave gifts in the form of fruit and homemade treats made from seeds and oats. The gifts are used to decorate the branches and the surrounding ground of each tree that you take something from. It's kind of like making a trade with nature. I can't believe he's asleep. It's 6 o'clock in the evening, which is normally scream o'clock for him, when he goes upstairs and just sings as loud as he can, as long as he can. Dogs are asleep, Bertie's asleep. I don't know where Elizabeth is, but if she's not causing trouble, that means she's asleep. This is the absolute quietest the house could possibly be. I'm second guessing whether I want to do any of this. I think I just want to go and sleep. That sounds wonderful. Why are you not screaming? I'm more suspicious that you've broken your routine. I don't want to disturb you to find out if everything's alright. He's got his little pour over his face. Oh, you're so cute. This is the bathroom behind me, where I'm prepping all the greenery, and I would bring you in with me and show you the process of how it gets cleaned and prepared and dried and all that. But I physically cannot fit you into this room with me. This is a one-man room, no guests allowed. Filming the process of prepping the greens is not really an option, because I have to be hand-holding you, but also my hands have to be in soapy water. So anyway, you'll have to use your imaginations. Fill bath with water and soapy soap. Put greenery in bath with soapy soap. The greenery around. Let it sit and soak for a few hours. Come back in, give it another leave it for another couple of hours, then drain out the water, bundle up the leaves by a string and hang them above the bathtub so they can drip dry down to the bath. These ones are already completely dry, so I'm going to take those down, get them downstairs and start using them for making the house smell and look seasonal. This year our winter solstice was a quiet one. The morning is usually when gifts are exchanged, but it wasn't in the budget this year, so we skipped that tradition and instead spent the morning putting up the last decorations and relaxing. In the afternoon we took a long walk out amongst the trees with our dogs and watched the sun setting, bringing to an end the shortest day of the year. Once back at home we spent the rest of the night cooking together. We usually eat the same meal every winter solstice. A fresh fillet of salmon baked in honey, lemon, butter and garlic, with a selection of roast vegetables. On the side we had sage and onion stuffing and Yorkshire puddings covered in a vegetable gravy. And our drink of choice this year was a mulled fruit juice.
vintage street.